Surviving Reality contains explicit content full of snark and sarcasm that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Reality.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly. And surprise, they've dropped both of the final episodes of Polyfamily on us without anyone thinking that episodes 5 and 6 were going to air simultaneously. Well, not simultaneously, but back to back on the same night.
Yeah, it'd be pretty ineffective to air them simultaneously, I would assume.
It's like when one TikTok starts playing over the other.
Yeah, it must be.
I didn't understand a lot of what was happening.
Keep scrolling.
This is going to be episode 5, Along Came Polly. We're splitting these up into 2 episodes. So this will just be 5, and then they'll have another episode drop it. I feel like I'm fucking this up the whole way through.
I don't know what you're doing.
I don't know either.
It's just, yeah, we're tell them what happens. You got this episode, it's episode 5. That's the whole recap. If you're looking for episode 6, that's going to be the next one.
Thank you. Was overcomplicating it.
Also,
much in the same way that these people are overcomplicating
I think
their
you're
lives.
just flustered because this is episode 69 of Surviving Reality. So
it's only fitting that it would be for this quad.
You're a little worked up. That must be it.
Well, in this episode, Alysia's attempt to reconnect with her unsupportive father has the quad voicing concerns about his past behavior. Sean accidentally crosses a boundary with Alysia by revealing intimate details about his relationship with Taya. We learn that Taya has a crush.
Oops, no boundaries. Yeah, oops, you had a boundary. Oops, I don't give a shit about your boundaries.
These people are weighing on my patience, and I'm becoming an Alysia apologist. I want to see her break free, be the first one who gets out of this, because I just don't know what could possibly be the reason why she's staying here. Because everybody sucks. Everybody's shitty to her. It seems like her life is not enjoyable.
It sounded like a Limp Bizkit verse for a second there. Just out of nowhere. I wasn't really expecting that. Yeah.
That's how she starts her day.
Don't really know why, but she wants to justify ripping someone's head off.
Should we jump in? Are you ready? Any other thoughts? Anything we need to preface at the beginning of this episode?
I was going to say that I think Alysia is our Mary, though, in Sister Wives terms, where she's not going to be strong enough to leave on her own accord. Someone else is going to have to leave first. And then when it's all falling apart, that's when she has the courage to stand up and leave.
All right. Yeah. I thought you were going to go with the direction of you're unlovable.
Nope.
And so that's why nobody here is treating you the way that you want to be treated.
No, if anyone's unlovable, Sean is unlovable. And I think we're pretty clear on that.
I wasn't sure which version of Cody Brown was going to be gaslighting us with that statement.
No.
Sean has to go back and get his vasectomy checked up on, which PSA, everyone out there, this is something you need to do and many people don't. And that's how you end up with a post-vasectomy baby.
Because they have to test to make sure that it took and that there's an amount of time that passes.
Much like Meredith Marks' breast reduction.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a couple of tries. Surgery's not a guarantee that it's going to work.
I like that he and Taya did not wait until they got the all clear. So I hope they use some form of protection.
Oh, he's still poking guts and busting nuts, if you know what I'm saying.
I really didn't need poking guts.
Yeah.
After we just had Taya have a breakdown of what it's like to have a baby after having had a C-section.
Yeah, I don't think that was appropriate either. Shame on me.
Did I just say after Taya said what it's like to have a baby after having a C-section?
Yeah, I think so. She's working on another.
Sean is the baby.
Yeah, arguably, yes.
You guys know what I meant.
Well,
barbecue. Baby barbecue.
This would not be their first surprise baby because, yeah, BBQ.
No one expected him. So isn't that even worse? Not a planned pregnancy.
A wild night of passion and then almost 9 months later coming out to hickory smoked perfection. They cooked him low and slow and he was ready to go.
I'm getting hungry again, guys. We went to a Renaissance fair and we did not get a turkey leg.
I was bummed. Yeah, I think there was something wrong with the payment.
Something was going on. The line was incredibly long.
Moving, so we had to get out of there.
Still
I had cash. I was ready. I was ready to throw down on some turkey leg.
I wish we had more baby barbecue. One of his few appearances in this episode.
Maybe next time. Now we have to jump into, there's a spite date that happens here, a revenge date, because Tyler and Taya had to have their schmexy date.
I don't think it really had spite date vibes.
I think Alysia was trying to have it be spite date.
Okay. I felt like they had to go through with this because Taya and Tyler got their date together, but really Sean and Alysia didn't want to go on a date.
No, of course they don't.
Not
But
with
they
each
have
other.
They have to be fair. This is how they have to balance out the quad. So that's what's going on.
So Alysia just picked an activity that she knew Tyler wouldn't do with her. So they're going to go painting. It's like a paint and sip. Sip and paint?
Sip and...
Paint. A sip
What do
and
they call
see.
these? A sip
No,
and see.
baby.
No, different. That's different. They
Sip
already
and-
had a
and
sip and
see
see.
my painting.
Careful. Yeah. You're getting close to something.
It felt risky coming off of the body painting that happened with Taya and Sean.
They had
Why
to
can I
do
not remember these people's names? Taya and Tyler.
Yeah, they had to do a PG painting date. No body paints. Even though, I don't know, maybe Sean tried to rub some of this paint on his nipples. He had a reaction. It's a problem. Stuff happens. Who knows?
Maybe explains a little something.
It's hard to tell.
Maybe he's having an allergic reaction to the water bottle that she brings everywhere. Because it's here again. It's coming on this date.
Oh, here's the thing. Spoiler for the rest of the season, because I haven't watched the next episode yet. I can guarantee you that water bottle makes an appearance everywhere she goes, because it's every single place where they are in this episode. It makes an appearance. She's basically part hamster, part gerbil, and she just has that.
She's just trying to stay hydrated.
There's ways to do that, but just.
Or she's a little drunk. Everywhere she goes.
To have it at the.
Take the edge off on a date with
the
Sean.
wine and painting thing, too, to cleanse the palate between. Was it a flight? No, it was like a glass of wine that they're sipping on here to paint some trees.
A little sip of wine, a little sip of vodka.
Maybe, yeah. Hopefully there's something in there. I feel like there's like mildew, mold that's acquiring inside of there.
Very strong opinions about the water jug.
Big problem. Big problem.
I didn't like that Tyler was making fun of the date because he and Taya are at home and he's like, isn't that funny that they're on this date together because they're getting to do the boring stuff, unlike the dates that we go on.
The freaky deaky dates.
The freaky dates. That must be what's been happening.
Well, and Sean seemed nervous, too. They were saying that he's like a very structured creature of habit, and he doesn't know what to do with these impromptu date nights of sip and see.
He's had like a week and a half's notice. And also, relax. They're going to show you a picture, and you're going to stare at it and paint the same picture. You're hardly being asked to come up with something on the spot.
If you have enough wine, it doesn't really matter what you paint.
You get a little abstract.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. You're going with a new interpretation.
Did you catch that Alysia slipped in that they haven't been having sex lately? Her and Sean.
Well, that makes sense.
Has he been saving it up for Taya?
He's trying to get his last chance, surprise baby, with Taya. He doesn't want to waste that. This is the last bit of his sperm.
Just in case he's still producing anything, he's been
If he
saving it up.
Yeah, he doesn't want that to be wasted on Alysia.
This date just devolves into Sean once again crossing a boundary with her, where he's talking about how on the date that Tyler and Taya had, Taya was texting him from the bathroom when she was having that, couple of minutes of a breakdown of not being sure if she was ready to have sex or not.
This is just ringing into Alicia's insecurities, though, because she wants to be a confidant for Sean in their relationship, yet they don't seem to have that sort of a bond. They're more of a, let's go to the Container Store and pick some stuff out together sort of a bond. That's about where they're at.
He's the person Alysia can do things with when Tyler doesn't want to do them.
Leftovers. Is that what that is?
The emotional support water bottle and the emotional support poly boyfriend.
Look, the emotional support water bottle is doing significant
Pulling its weight.
Heavy lifting in this relationship for Alysia.
I guess that wasn't directly talking about intimacy, but it kind of was.
Well, it's just reminding Alysia of there was explicit discussion of sexual activities that took place on that date So now it's kind of brushing up against, like, I'm still hearing about sex, even though I've said I don't really want to discuss that when it's sex with other partners, specifically involving Taya. Maybe leave me out of it. I don't need to know all the nitty-gritty details. Did you catch that Sean was blaming Alysia's boundaries for their lack of intimacy, though?
Is that how we somehow got to Alicia's very vanilla?
That was part of that back and forth.
Well, that was just another way that he shit on her.
Yeah, because then it was the complication there of he was referring to Alysia as vanilla, and then Alysia had to point out, well, I'm in a closed quad polyamorous relationship, and we used to swing. I am anything but vanilla, which that was a nice little insight into her mentality of why she's motivated to do this. She doesn't want to be considered boring, run-of-the-mill vanilla, but she's more like, if we're talking in ice cream flavors,
strawberry.
I was going to say Superman because there's a lot of colors, but it is vanilla.
At the end of the day,
it's all vanilla.
It's still vanilla ice
still
cream.
In there. Nothing's really changed.
This has to tie back to why she doesn't want to discuss sex in detail and what's going on in their relationships, especially with Taya, because Taya must be doing some freaky shit with them that she is not comfortable with.
The communication back and forth then became about the vanilla argument and accusations that were flying around, but then also that Sean is lazy because he was talking about, well, I don't like string you up from the ceiling or anything. And Alysia has to say, well, maybe because you don't really...
You're a little lazy.
Yeah, you don't have enough energy to do that.
Have they reinforced the ceiling so that they can do that? We know these people are all over 6 foot.
If Tyler can climb up into it, then I think you should be okay.
Climb up into what?
Into the swing.
Oh, into the swing.
Yeah, that's probably what's going on. If you're talking about hanging someone from the ceiling there, what are you talking about?
I'm
something else?
Not making any suggestions or assumptions about what's going on there.
Okay. I didn't like that it was kind of a jab for jab. It was an insult in response to me being personally insulted.
Other.
Yeah, they just don't like each other.
That's also why he's not stringing her up from the ceiling, because I do think when they have sex, it's like, okay, I just have to cross this off the list and get this over with.
Because then she's complaining about how they're not having sex often. That's part of that conversation too. And then Sean is blaming her for, well, you have all these pesky boundaries. I feel like I can't connect with you emotionally, and that's why we don't have sex. So he's blaming her for this. So it's just a lot of accusations flying back and forth and assumptions being made, things that are being said that are not for the betterment of furthering communication between the two of them or developing anything else. It's mostly just to kind of get back at each other.
I don't like the way that Sean talks to anybody, but especially the way he talks to Alysia, because I feel like you can almost see in Alicia's eyes that it really affects her self-esteem.
I think that's with anything, though. A lot of stuff that Alicia's going through, it's a lot of confidence, self-esteem, self-worth, value, all of those things that are rooted into it. And so I think she's constantly tearing herself down no matter what's going on around her. Seems to be the case.
I was hoping we're going to get a scene which was like a little glimpse of what it was like for Alysia and Tyler to have their family prior to building out this quad. Because we see them take Raina and Dylan to a carousel.
That's his name, Dylan. Yep.
I couldn't remember that either.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, as I was doing my notes, flashed into my mind for a brief second.
This is the carousel scene that we're talking about here. I think that's their entire basis for going to this place, where you can do in memoriam dedications of the creatures and animals that you find on this carousel, I guess.
Did need a little bit more of an explanation of the importance of the carousel, the symbolism of it. Did she talk about her mom loving carousels, or this being a thing that the two of them did when she was little?
Unicorns. She likes unicorns, so the animal that they chose as the in memoriam selection was a unicorn. But her mom, this isn't like a recent thing.
Fictional animal.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Fantasy. But this isn't like a new development storyline here. Like,
her mom passed away when she was 18.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a while since she passed, but they've now raised some money that they're going to use
for the show. From the show.
You think the show paid for this?
Maybe from the show. They're making it a storyline.
If the show did, then we would have to see the installation of it. They would have taken us full circle.
They seem pretty loosey-goosey on the carousel construction timeline here, as far as when
I'm sure
these spots
this
are
is
assigned.
a handcrafted animal. Where do you think you get these from?
I don't
Carousel
know.
animals?
They don't, yeah, it's not just a run-of-the-mill thing. They're not mass-producing these. But it seemed like the schedule to install, and it's very loosey-goosey. Do you get a text message? No, you just have to keep coming back to the carousel to see if
Just keep checking.
there's anything new. Yeah, just come back in a couple of months, maybe. I don't know. Try again later.
This was their way into talking to us about the importance of Alysia wanting to reconcile with her dad because he's her only living parent. Things have been really bad between them since the quad got together, and he decided that he's very anti-polyfamily.
I think the other part here was that this is an opportunity to highlight how supportive Alicia's mom would have been of the quad, but that was, 16 years ago before she even delved into polyamory at all. So it's kind of this comparison point of her dad doesn't approve. Her mom would have, but she doesn't have that support system here because her mom passed away.
The other hard thing about this, of not having this relationship with her dad anymore, is that the kids used to know her dad. That's a person who has just disappeared from their lives now that they're in this relationship with Sean and Taya. Jan, I continue to be worried about these older children.
Yeah, Dylan and Raina are going to get the brunt of this because they were old enough to remember pre-quad era, and then now they know the quad experience here. What will that look like post-divorce? Because we know that's coming eventually at some point.
I think there's 0% chance these people stay together. You can tell that there's already resentment. That's a good tie into what starts to happen now because they get back to the house. And it's been kind of rough having newborn baby in the house.
For some people.
As a lot of people probably would expect. But last night was a really rough night with Baby Barbecue.
Baby Barbecue had the itis. He was up. He was not doing well. He wasn't sleeping through the night.
And Sean shows up to mansplain what Taya should have done, I guess, to calm the baby down, to get him to eat.
To do better. Yeah. Mom better next time by doing the things that I tell you to do. You're not using the same breastfeeding methods that I have implemented based on the handbook. So you're going to have to go back to training and learn that over again. Taya's not really here for it because she didn't get a lot of sleep last night. She's kind of out of it, and her patience is pretty thin. So she gets up and excuses herself after they've kind of bickered back and forth a little bit there, rightfully so. And then here comes Alysia to ask Sean about his sperm test. I think she was fishing for information, though. She was trying to get an inside line. She wanted to dish about what just took place because she was watching them argue in the living room while she's slurping on her gerbil water bottle in the kitchen.
Like 5 feet away, watching the whole thing go down.
So it's just awkward because you're seeing a married couple arguing in front of you, and then Sean wanders over into the kitchen, and she starts asking him about his brochure and the directions of how do you come up with your sample for your specimen.
Did you read this? Because you should probably read it.
Did you read the brochure?
I think there's probably one rule that you're going to have a hard time following.
The pamphlet. Are you all up to date on that?
So you interpreted this as like her trying to create an opening to allow him to vent about whatever's upsetting him with Taya.
Clearly he was frustrated with Taya. So she wants him to confide in her, but he doesn't give any of that up. He's not interested in conversing with Alysia, and she becomes well aware of that because they start bickering a little bit too, back and forth about the vasectomy test, post-vasectomy test. So now she's going to retreat back to Tyler.
Is everybody in this one bedroom? Tyler and all the kids? They're hiding in there folding laundry?
Yeah, is it like nap time for the toddlers? And so they have them in the back part of the house? I don't know.
This is the crying room, so Alysia has come to it.
She's like, move over, kids. It's my turn.
Move over, Tyler. He had zero sympathy for her expressing that she was upset that Sean tends to take it out on her when he's in a bad mood. When he's in a fight with Taya, she catches strays.
So he asks, is there anything I can do to help? And Alysia says, I don't know, make Sean be nice to me. Well, that's impossible. So I don't know.
I can't even make Sean be nice to me.
I can't make Sean. Sean can't be nice to anyone, it seems like, so far. I haven't seen the capability of that.
Dude, there's no way I could live in a house with him. The way he would just make me feel like I was on eggshells all the time.
Well, and then when it is addressed, he still doesn't talk about the issue. He argues and he takes cheap shots at other stuff to make you want to stop talking because he doesn't want to talk about this. But instead of just saying, I don't want to talk about this, he does destructive things instead. It's a real gem. It's a real keeper. Nothing like long-term relationship stability right there.
You know, things are just going so well that we should probably go get a second opinion from another attorney about if we can do the whole adoption thing.
You know, I'm enjoying the marital experience of the closed quad so much that we need to get more parental rights involved as well. Yes.
I think I would have just taken what the other lawyer said and been like, all right, I guess I'll just throw my hands up in the air and we won't have a solution to this.
Ah, shucks, guys. We've exhausted pretty much all of our resources. We've basically tried nothing and we're essentially out of ideas.
Instead, they searched out a lawyer who has experience in this because she also came from an untraditional family structure.
That's what it sounds like. And she seems to be way more well-versed as far as the other laws and cases that are applicable to this.
Right? How did we go from the one attorney being like, there's no chance in hell that you're going to be able to do this, it's never been done, to this woman's like, oh yeah, there's totally a way to do this and you should. Write me a check and get me on retainer and we can get the paperwork started.
Yeah. Is that what it is? Or is it just because the original attorney that they went to see in their cases, yeah, there hasn't been anything like this in their however many years of
okay,
service.
But then you think you would caveat, I don't personally have experience in this area, but I can research people who do.
That feels like it would have been the better lawyer answer because then you're leaving open an opportunity where you could be mistaken based on information that I don't have on hand at this point.
I would like to be gifted my doctorate now for crafting that lawyerly response.
How'd you pass the bar in Louisiana?
I caught a little something in Alysia giving the explanation of their family and why they're here. Did you hear it?
No.
She said, we're two couples who are together right now.
Right now.
As if maybe not in the future.
See, I tend to zone out when they go into the description of what's happening. And it's like, yeah, I think I know why we're here. But no, that is good because the verbiage and how she's explaining it and describing it to other people, that could be revealing. And I think that's the reason why they wanted to find a more solid answer to the third party adoption?
Third party adoption.
That they're doing here, because there are legitimate concerns in the quad about Alicia's dad making a claim against the kids if anything did happen to Tyler and Alysia as part of their marriage.
He does seem to be the one that they're most worried about. Some people have suggested, why not just put in your will who custody of the kids go to?
Yeah, because
like, doesn't that
it's a legally
take care of
binding?
that?
Yeah, like that's a legal document, and I mean, it could be disputed in probate and stuff too. So I mean, I guess like there are things that you could run into issues with.
I'm gonna bet, given Sean's past, that probably won't hold up very well if one of Alicia's family members, who is biologically related to the kids, decides that her children should not be with this human being.
Oh, that'd be, very quick answer to that, I think, of, just bringing up Sean's rap sheet and saying, I would like to retain custody of my grandchildren. This brings up a whole primary caretakers debate. I'm not touching that one. We got issues with that. Heard there's a lot of problems around that.
Please don't.
Don't want to get into it. But that's basically where they're going, is coming up with legal documentation, this third-party adoption route to state who these caretakers are of the children and what that looks like moving forward.
We get a little taste about what this parenting is like with these four working together. And getting the kids to bed, still not easy, even with four parents to wrangle them all.
Luckily, Sean is the toddler whisperer. He's able to get the younger kids to go to bed pretty effectively. I guess it helps having that information come from someone of the same emotional maturity level. They're able to recognize, all right, okay, I'll take you at your word for that.
He seems a little scary to me. He's yelling at them through the monitor.
Yeah, there was an intimidation factor there. He intimidates the children to sleep. Is that
That is exactly what he did.
Is that the strategy? What's the super nanny
he
advice for that?
He mentioned his girth at some point. How is that going to help you? I'm going to stay away from that one.
Oh. Yeah, now you got a Nia Jax scenario that's playing in my head where he's just going to squash him.
You're going to hold him down
from the second rope
to the crib mattress.
Right into the corner there. Going to crush your ribs.
They do successfully get the kids to sleep, which means now the four of them can just have a relaxing evening and chat and catch up.
Or we're just going to argue about what Alysia wants to bring up with conversation with her dad. She wants to open up a conversation about reconnecting with her father.
Also did not love that she felt like she needed their permission before she moved forward with doing this. Was it permission or just that she had to run it by them? Because it does feel like she's waiting for an answer as to whether or not she can do it.
Yeah, but then also when she's met with an answer that doesn't, because this does not go well, she's met with an immediate response of why would you want to do that? That doesn't seem like a good reason. He's not a safe person for us to interact with as a family. He doesn't support us. So she's being met with a lot of resistance, but she's sticking with it. So I think that's the part where she is pushing for that, or at least making her case known of, yes, this is something that I'm pursuing.
She's not letting them bulldoze her.
Not entirely. Yeah. I mean, there are, from the initial response, they're trying to bulldoze her and she's standing up to it.
It was really uncomfortable to watch Sean and Taya's entire demeanor shift as soon as she started to talk about it. Especially Taya, because I don't think we've seen a side of Taya yet where she gets bent out of shape about something.
Defensive, yeah.
And defensive, yeah. And she instantly went here. And I did think that the way that she presented it, which was, I'd like to start talking to my dad and maybe get to the point where he could come over for family events and things, but he would have to agree to treat all the kids equally, which has been the thing that they've been upset about until now.
Yeah, they brought up a whole Christmas card drama that happened too, because I guess Alicia's dad had sent multiple Christmas cards to the house, some that he addressed to children in some ways, some in other ways. I'm not sure. The fact that the dude sent like 4 Christmas cards to the house is already a testament to his dedication as a grandfather, I would say.
Isn't that odd? Do you typically get a different Christmas card for every individual?
No. So that's what I'm saying is like to pick out 4 cards, that's like above and beyond. But then to address them separately, then you're losing points.
Above and beyond in his effort level or above and beyond in the petty level?
I think above and beyond. I thought it was above and beyond in an effort. It shows an effort because, yes, you're going individual cards when you easily could just have one card addressed to the entire family and just send that on its way.
He wasted multiple forever stamps.
It's true.
Think about that. Cost him a couple of bucks just to go through with this. So the kids that have been birthed by Alysia receive a card that says "Love Grandpa." And the other ones do not. They just signed it with his name.
And at this point, I'm thinking, was he just not sure of how to address these? Like, is he not familiar with the verbiage of what he would be named himself as? Like, he's not comfortable with
You
that
think they
title?
made assumptions?
I was thinking that initially. So I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because we're still trying to learn and
we've never
find
met
out.
him. We don't know him.
We don't know him. We've never heard this guy say anything yet. But then they start talking about, well, we were texted out of the blue that Taya and Sean are no longer allowed to attend family gatherings. And it was kind of random. There wasn't really anything planned or scheduled.
Was it random?
Well, it seemed like it was.
The way Sean interacts with people makes me wonder if there could have been something negative that occurred that made her dad like them even less than he already did.
Okay, I like that theory because then, yeah, maybe we can explore that of what's the reasoning. We need to talk to Alicia's dad. We need to find out what was the reason behind his motivation to say, hey, I'm not comfortable with these other 2 people coming over to family gatherings now. So was there a reason for the exclusion that took place there? I'm just trying to gather more information because we don't have a lot of information to go off of. But that's what I thought initially. Was maybe he was just not sure of how to address a lot of these things. But then it was sounding like maybe it was a petty, spiteful thing.
Maybe he fessed up to it that he did it on purpose.
Maybe, yeah, or told somebody.
I think we do need to hear the other side of the story. Also, I don't like when we have shows like this and we talk about someone who is a central point to a piece of drama that's going on and we never hear from that person.
Yeah, so I think they're trying to get him involved. I do agree with Taya on the one part, though. She gets kind of reactive where then she wasn't being as constructive with the conversation, where she gets accusatory. Why are you yelling at me? Well, very clearly, Alicia's getting upset about this. She's getting worked up. She wasn't yelling. She's raising her voice. Okay, if you want to state that in that way and say, hey, I'm not comfortable with the level that we're going to, I understand that you're upset, or like where that would be coming from. There was just some elements of that kind of threw me off too about Taya's reaction to it when Alicia's trying to talk through this, and it's a very emotional charged conversation for her.
Everyone kind of just shut her down.
Well, primarily, yeah, like the element for Taya that I was thinking of was I can get behind the reasoning of where we're at right now isn't good with Alicia's dad. Maybe there could be something better in the future, but there needs to be something in between those. We can't just gloss over what has happened and where we are currently, pretend like everything's fine, and have him start coming over to family things or us all going to participate in family things. We need to address what has taken place. I agree with that 1,000%. Absolutely on board with that. How we got there and how we landed on that.
Maybe how we communicated it wasn't great.
The level of communication for that point to get across wasn't great. Because, I mean, we're talking about things of Sean saying stuff like, well, if he wasn't your dad, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. And it doesn't matter that he's your dad at the end of the day. Okay, like that seems like an extreme. And also very upsetting for Alysia to hear that, because then it sounds like you're shutting her down and not even entertaining it.
Sean also said something weird when he tried to translate what he initially meant by that, because do you think he realized it came off really harsh? But he clarified it by saying, well, he's your dad, but that doesn't mean he's above the rules.
Rules are rules.
I was like, what are rules? The rules are what? That if somebody doesn't fully support you guys, that you don't interact with them? Like,
you're not allowed
what is the rule that's being violated?
You're not allowed to eat your chips at the table. You have to stay in your room. And solitary,
you're grounded.
Solitary confinement. That's how we deal with this. The disagreement that happened then on the couch between Alysia and Sean was when they were trying to clarify that further, because he was trying to say in a softer way what he was saying as part of the quad conversation. But I don't think that was coming across any better this time around either. And then Alysia was getting upset too, because then she's not feeling heard, because she's saying, you're asking me to force someone to apologize. But if her dad doesn't feel sorry for this, what does that apology even get us?
We were kind of skipping ahead here where she's automatically jumping to, well, that's just not going to happen. Like, he's never going to issue an apology. So I think she kind of shut down, because it was like, well, then I don't even want to talk to him, because it's not going to go anywhere, because he's not going to apologize.
Yeah, why address it? Why bring it up? It's going to just cause a bigger divide or a bigger problem, because that's not the result I'm going to get. Or maybe he has made it pretty clear about how he feels, and yeah, he's not sorry. He doesn't feel bad about this stuff, so he's not going to issue an apology, and she is well aware of that. We don't know, though. We haven't been part of those conversations.
It did almost come across like they wanted her to issue an ultimatum where if he wanted to have a relationship with them and the kids, that he would have to provide this apology to Sean and Taya. Otherwise, it was a no-go, which is essentially what they're saying. And to some extent, I understand that it's hard to move past something and say it's resolved if somebody isn't willing to take accountability for their actions and apologize. But also, I simultaneously kind of feel like maybe Sean and Taya need to look at where Alicia's at, and that this clearly is impacting her, not having a relationship with her father, and that you might need to be a little bit more understanding than you normally would in the circumstance.
The complication that Tyler's pointing out is that he has his two partners, his wife and his girlfriend, and they are both right and they are both wrong. And what do you do with that?
Well, this is where this kind of stuff sucks, because now who is there to support Alysia? Because Tyler's not going to back her up that strongly because he's also seeing Taya's side of things. It just feels like she never has anybody on her side with her.
It seemed like at the beginning, it was the three of them. It was Tyler, Sean, and Taya who were countering everything that Alysia was saying. I think we did eventually, after the initial kind of upset subsided and some of that like personal stuff was taken out of it ahead of time there, I think we did get to good suggestions of like what they would look to and what to expect, the outcomes that they would hope for, like those types of things. So at least Alysia has something to go off of as far as I am going to pursue these conversations with my dad. And then this is how I can maneuver in those sort of ways to keep the quad happy as well. So I think she has a better idea of how to kind of frame some of those conversations and what that's going to look like.
Oh no, it was really rough getting there.
It was rough.
Leaves the couch at one point when she's doing an interview with Sean. He is so bad at lending any type of comfort to her. Like he just throws his hands up in the air and lets her get up from the couch.
Well, and
then comes back and doesn't even look her in the face. Like, doesn't seem concerned if she's okay. Like, he just feels like her emotions are dramatic. And it's an annoying thing for him to have to deal with.
Well, and also he just thinks that he knows everything as well. So then he's going about it of saying, well, I think you're probably upset because you lost your mom. Your dad's getting older. You're thinking about, not having this relationship with him. And then that was already enough to upset her to get up and leave. Because, you're talking about all these very emotionally triggering things for her. So that's upsetting. It's different to bring that up and say, I know exactly why you're feeling the way you're feeling and why you're lashing out versus addressing it in a supportive way where you can be constructive and help this other person.
She might not even really understand why she's feeling the way she's feeling.
Yeah.
But here you go psychoanalyzing her.
And prescribing it that way.
Yeah.
Assigning all of that without clarifying with her, which then she is getting upset.
See, that's what makes me worry about the Christmas card story, because here we have an example of Sean assigning something to somebody, assigning feelings to Alysia without her having to express that that's actually how she feels. And these are two people that do not have a deep connection with one another, where you would think that they would be so connected that he would just know how she was feeling. So I worry that the Christmas card maybe was interpreted a way that it wasn't fully meant.
Some other intention to those actions, potentially.
Just makes me question it. Although I don't doubt that her dad could be that petty.
Equally, a response that I could expect from her dad as well.
We finally get to the vasectomy appointment, the recheck.
Yeah, Sean's trying to make a deposit.
I didn't feel like we needed to see this on camera.
No, and it seemed like
He's
this
mic'd up in the bathroom?
This seemed like something that was played up. And
you think that they filmed a little something to make it seem like this was going on, but it really wasn't?
And then also with Taya lending a helping hand and all of that too. I think it was to drum most of this stuff up. Feels like it was produced for the show more than anything.
They were just trying to be shocking.
And funny and goofy and silly and all of the things.
I don't want to hear Sean yell at Alysia ever again, because this man did not read the paperwork, which she asked him if he read. I don't know how many days ago it was where they got in a fight together because of this. He didn't fucking read it. And he wasn't supposed to have sex 72 hours or less before his appointment.
Well, we knew that wasn't going to happen because Taya and Tyler already banged one out. So it's only fair that he be entitled to the same compensation.
Oh my God.
According to him.
And they took care of that this morning. So it's been 5 hours.
It's been 5 hours. Less than 5 hours. So they're doing the math on that. Not looking good. That's definitely less than 72. Whoopsie doopsie.
He does not even call. Why would you not call and say, hey, is this okay? Because he doesn't have an appointment, really. Didn't he say I can go drop the sample off whenever I just bring it to the lab?
Yeah, it's at the lab. And so it's not like an appointment or anything. It's just, well, and also, why couldn't you do this on a different day? Could you plan this out a little bit better or different?
I think he didn't read it until after he already had given his sample.
That's not a good time to read it.
No, you should have followed the directions first.
Yeah, instructions
I don't know, maybe
first.
Pour that shit out. Clean that bottle out. You better do it another day. Get a new bottle. I don't know.
I don't know how it works. Don't use the jug, the gerbil jug. Don't do that.
That would really be the point where Alysia would lose
How
it.
much of Sean's sperm is in the jug at this point? I mean, these are legitimate questions that we could be asking. Is there a cotton swab test that we can do at this lab? Do we have some extra samples that we can provide potentially here?
Think they're going to run into Ryan Anderson?
Maybe, yeah. Well, I thought it was weird that he had the sample in his pocket and then he was complaining that it was getting cold because they live all the way out in the boonies. And so he has to drive all the way to the lab.
He complains repeatedly about how far they live.
You moved
He
there.
is trying to soft launch a move. He doesn't want to live in this house anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
He wants to move closer to Portland.
He also wants his specimen between Taya's breasts.
Okay. Was this in the paperwork that it had to stay a certain temperature? And
I didn't
also
read it.
was incubating the sample between your breasts the solution to that?
That was the solution that he gave. Yeah, I don't know how necessary this was. If this is just something that he's writing in as part of the instructions that you have to keep it warm. I can't keep it warm enough. You have to keep it warm now.
Do people typically just bring the cup with them to the office and excuse themselves to a bathroom to do this there?
Yeah.
Like, I would think there's a way to get a fresher sample than to have to incubate it for your entire ride.
But then Taya wouldn't be able to help.
Oh, no.
Probably.
All I know is this is why you need to keep gloves on. You never know where something came from.
This is just reminding me of working as a cashier and having people take cash out of their bras and try to pay for things.
Just going to ask if that used to happen to you.
Of course
because
it
that
did.
has most definitely
Of course.
happened to me in my life.
Of course it did.
And it's disgusting.
Y'all need to stop with that.
Get a wristlet.
Something.
Use Apple Pay. Anything. Anything other than that.
I mean, it was back in like 2010, so I don't know if Apple Pay was as prevalent at that time.
I don't know.
But still,
It's a lot of impetigo.
if it's damp and sweaty, it's not usable tender. Let's make that a rule.
We see him drop it off, but we don't really find anything else out.
They get the thumbs
They were
up
like,
from,
it's okay.
Yeah, the receptionist was like, it's not ideal, but whatever.
More of a suggestion.
I guess. I mean, I hope
they're going to
you
call him and
used.
tell him he's going to have to do it again.
Well, I hope he used an alternative method of birth control for your sexual escapades this morning, because we have not tested the vasectomy results.
She said she's less than 2 months out from having the baby, too.
Fertile Myrtle,
You better watch out.
you're in the danger zone.
He's been thinking about this ever since he discovered that that baby's not his.
Oh, he's trying.
They said they're done, but he's like, how about one more? Now that I know Tyler's shooting blanks,
Tyler had a surprise, so yeah, maybe
he's going to know that this one's his.
I can do a surprise too.
They get back from dropping this off and once again overstep the boundary that Alysia has put in place that she does not want to hear about other people having sex.
Yeah, but Sean has to blow his third load here today. And he's going to do one. Do you think it's just he likes to make Alysia uncomfortable? Is that what is exciting for him?
Oh, I know we talked. You think that this is like you think this is masochistic?
I think it could be. It has potential for that because it's. Some people were theorizing that Sean gets off on the details of Tyler and Taya, and he kind of enjoys being the cuck.
I don't see that.
I don't see that as the pleasurable thing for him. I think his pleasure comes from Alicia's discomfort. And the more that he's able to extract from that, that's what he's trying to get out of this.
You could tell that when he said it, he knew that he was saying something wrong. It wasn't like he was just slipping up and he accidentally mentioned something and then was like, oh shit, she's going to be upset about that now.
Plus, this is like a gray area that they kind of had to discuss too, because it is his day with Alysia, but last night was his night with Taya. So the morning of the day of Alysia, he had sex with Taya. Is that breaking the rules of only having sex with the person that your day is with? It's kind of they're letting it go because it's like it doesn't count till you leave the bedroom. The night doesn't end.
This whole rule had to be created because Taya and Tyler ran off and did something together on a day that was not Taya's. So why does this keep happening?
Well, and then this is
why
just
does this
upsetting.
woman want to have sex so much?
This is just upsetting Alysia because then Sean's refractory period has probably taken full effect now because he has had sex with Taya this morning and he's provided a sample for his sperm count. So I don't think Alicia's expecting anything else to happen tonight. Plus they're fighting too. But is that more wounding that it's completely off the table? It's not even in the realm of possibility at all. He has no problem going and doing this elsewhere, but wants nothing to do with me again.
I feel bad for her, but also I feel relieved for her that she doesn't have to have sex with Sean tonight.
Yeah, I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
No.
I think it's funny too, where the entire conversation, the other big quad conversation that took place this episode was all about how Alysia needs to set boundaries and stick to them. And then this one boundary that she sets within the quad is constantly trampled, overlooked, and neglected. Please stop talking about your sexual exploits around me that I'm not involved in. I don't want to partake in that conversation. And everyone just keeps blasting through it.
Blasting through it.
Specifically Sean.
Yeah. Well, Taya's not getting blasted enough because now she's entertaining the idea of a girlfriend. We kind of met Lex in the last episode where we saw them FaceTiming together and got the backstory about how this is a friend that she leaned on a lot during her pregnancy. But Lex lives really far away, so it wouldn't be like they could be in a relationship really because it would be long distance.
And it's a closed quad, which means they're
Small
not...
detail.
Yeah, they're not taking applications right now, allegedly. But it seems like...
Seems like Taya doesn't think it's that closed.
Yeah, it seems like Taya's trying to test how closed the quad is.
And we're going to meet Lex in the next episode because she's coming to visit. And Sean is overhearing this because he's in the same room and he already knows what's going on. He can tell. Taya's got a crush on Lex, and we're going to have a conversation about what happens next.
So stay tuned for that in about 30 minutes or so. I don't know how long it's going to... We're going to release the episode.
They're going to come out back to back.
Back to back. Why not? We'll do some back shots in honor of... back-to-back shots. Here we go. In honor of Taya and Sean. And Tyler. And their headboard.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.